Greetings. We are the Arcturians, and we are here within our consciousness as well as within Suzille's and Shawnna's consciousness to have a bit of a conversation. And Shawnna, would you please begin by asking your question, and we will answer it through Suzille.
Yes, well, thank you for joining us. As always, we appreciate your guidance. We thought it might be interesting to ask you in a way that we seek guidance and inspiration in these times when we're surrounded by distractions and chaos. We were curious to ask you if, from your perspective, if you were in our shoes here as humans on this 3D reality, what would you do to incite change and to focus upon the reality you wish to bring about?
Well, first off, Gaia is a free will planet. And unless the people, the majority of the people of Gaia, were to ask us, dear Arcturians, dear Pleiadians, dear Antareans, dear Sirians, would you please come and help us? We would be there. But it is a free will planet, and we have not been asked in that manner. The manner in which we have been asked is that people have set up calls, usually to one of us, meaning the Arcturians, the Pleiadians. The Arcturians and the Pleiadians are the primary people that are asked because we are the primary people who have chosen to take Earth vessels within this now. So what occurs is if we have not yet been able to remember that we are multidimensional and that we are also our higher dimensional expression of ourselves, along with our third dimensional expression of self, it can be quite lonely and quite frightening. And that is part of the reason why there is so much conflict, is that people feel so alone. They feel abandoned, but since they don't really believe in their own higher power or in their galactic family or even in what humanity has called God, because they don't believe that there is anything bigger, stronger, wider, more evolved than them, they're pretty much angry, sad, hurt, and alone. And this is why at the very beginning, when we first started talking to Suzelle, we told her that she had to put aside a certain time and a certain place for as many days of the week as was possible, but make sure that she could keep that schedule. And to go to that same place at that same time and meditate to us, meaning ourselves, the Arcturians, as well as our greater galactic family, whomever each person feels most aligned with, and to ask. Now, since a fifth-dimensional conversation does not last very long in a third-dimensional brain, you will have to make sure that you document whatever information you get. And this is something that we say through Suzille with just about every private and in many schools, but it can't be said enough that we really do want to speak with the members of our galactic family who have been so brave that they have gone down to Earth to take an Earth vessel. But unfortunately, so many of them forget. did you have a question or comment about what we said so far?
Yes, and going back to that statement that you shared about asking for that assistance and saying, please come help us, how do you suggest that those of us that are aware and we're ready to ask for that assistance directly, how do you suggest that we do that? Do we just each sit down in our meditation and say, oh, we could really use some help right now? Or is it a more concerted effort and organized, and we create?
No, all you have to do is simply ask. You can ask while you're driving in traffic. You can ask while you're standing in the line at the grocery store. You can ask while you're changing your baby's diapers. You can ask while you're walking in the woods. Anytime you want to ask, just ask. Just say, hello, we are here and we want to connect with you within this now. But then you have to remember that if you cannot hear us, it is not because we are not answering you. It is because your consciousness has to be aligned to a high enough frequency that you can take in this information that is from the fifth dimension and beyond. And many people might be able to hear a hum or a noise or have a feeling, but that's all they can do. And what we say, if you keep up your schedule, because your body is the one who will collect the message, and your body is based on cycles. Everything in your body is based on cycles. How many times does your heart beat? How many times do you swallow? How many times do you cough? How many times do you blink your eyes? You know, all of these different things that are happening within your physical body. And so if you can take the time to align yourself first with the planet and then with a desire to communicate with the higher being, then you have said to your body, I am ready to bring all of you together to do one thing right now. So you can stop digesting, you can stop blinking, you can stop all those other things, and just be still. Now, sounds easy, but hard to do. How do you do it? You do it with your breath. What will assist you most of anything is if you start off with a short breath on the inhale and make your exhale twice as long. And then you take a longer and longer inhale, which makes for a longer and longer exhale. And what happens is that you become focused on your own life force, because breath is your life force. And so the chatter in your mind goes away, the emotions in your body goes away, and you're just focusing on what everyone brings in and releases and brings in and releases. And in fact, you bring in and share. For every time you exhale, you're not just releasing the breath, you are sharing your breath. And people may or may not realize that their breath is also filled with their emotions, their thoughts, their feelings, their desires. Would you like to comment on that, Shawnna, or perhaps ask another question?
Well, I think that's definitely a helpful reminder, because that allows us to reset and expand our consciousness if we ever feel distracted or ungrounded. It's definitely a good practice. So we have this this advice now to focus on that asking for the assistance and information, and then we place that request in our consciousness and amplify that connection by our slow breathing. And these are things that we can share with others. And so that way it grows organically and more people become aware. And fewer people are lonely and feeling despondent or abandoned, and they start to build that connection. So it has an exponential effect.
Yes, absolutely. And the other effect is that it puts you into alignment with your body. And so those who are listening, we ask that you put one hand on your stomach and the other hand on your intestinal area below your belly button. And so as you breathe in, feel what happens to your body. And then as you breathe out, feel what happens to your body. And then you can even get to the place where as you breathe in, you pull in your intestinal tract, and as you breathe out, you release it and you release your stomach area. And so you feel how that energy comes in, and then you share it with your exhale. So you bring in this energy field with your inhale, and you hold it for as long as you can and as long as it is comfortable. And then you share that gift that you've received because you remember to ask for it. You share that with others, because Gaia is a free will planet. And that means that you have to ask. People have to ask. And when people know that they have to ask, then they gather the courage to actually ask. Do you understand what we mean by that? How difficult it is for so many humans to ask, especially an unseen being or a higher self. How difficult it is to ask. Because one of the things that flashes through them is all the times they asked in school and got ridiculed, or asked a friend and someone laughs, or asked a parent and they weren't there for them. And so two things happen. When you go through this history of asking and not having an answer that you needed, you are aware how strong you are, because you did not get those questions answered then. But what you did do is that you remembered that you are not just a human. That's just the body that you are wearing so that you could assist Gaia. And so what you remember is that you are your breath. And without the breath going into and out of your body, you are not in that body. The thing that you can lose arms, legs, there's all kinds of things you can lose. But if you lose your breath, you're not in your body. And so whenever you have breath exercises, you pull your higher dimensional self into your physical body. And when that higher dimensional self comes into your physical body, it begins to activate the Kundalini force. Would you like to talk a bit before we explain more about the Kundalini?
Oh, no, continue. I think this is very helpful.
The Kundalini is located at the base of everyone's spine. And it is an energy field. It's humanity's ascension energy field. And basically, it is a force of transmutation, such as the violet fire. And it's also a force of unconditional love, such as the blue fire. And so if all of you take a moment and go all the way down to the base of your spine and feel how it connects to your legs and how your legs connect to the planet. And or you can sit on the planet, sit on the ground, and put your buttocks right flat on the dirt, on a rock, in the tub, on the sand, in the beach, wherever you are, and move into it and blend with Gaia. My body into yours, Gaia. Your body into mine, Gaia. My body into yours, Gaia. Your body into mine, Gaia. And then, if you find yourself deeply grounded in this manner, and you bring in this higher means of breathing, because breathing is life. And so when you breathe in these higher frequencies of breath, and as you use higher and higher chakras to accept the breath and to use the breath, then you are preparing your body to resonate to higher and higher frequencies. Now, that resonance may not be recognized, but if you are still, and especially if you go into nature, maybe you put your back up against a tree or sit on a rock or sit before a flower garden, but be with Gaia. If you do that, then you will go into your primitive self, the self that is part of the planet. And it's actually the most evolved part of yourself, but we said the means primitive because that's how most modern people will look at those that live off of and with and through and share their reality with the living being of the planet. Shawnna, did you wish to say something?
Yes, well, I was going to say how valuable it is, and this is also a helpful tool for us to maintain that groundedness when we go into nature and reset our consciousness to the natural flow and rhythm of the planet and the heartbeat. That's also, so very helpful whenever we have, all these intense energies, even from the sun coming in, and we can sense that within our bodies in different ways. And I've found it very therapeutic, to go outside and sit under the trees in the sunshine. And I think the more we share those habits with other people as well, I think that uplifts many people, and they forget, oh goodness, I could simply go outside, get some fresh air, step away from my social media, step away from the computer, and realign to that natural state.
Yes, it is that realignment. And Gaia very much needs that realignment, because anyone who is aware of any of the news that's going on, Gaia has been suffering a lot. There has been a lot of disasters that has come onto her body, and a lot of pollution that's gone into her body, and lots of bombs and wars. And Gaia needs help because humanity is frightened. And when humans get frightened, they very often get angry. And when they get angry, they want to go out and fight with something or someone. And that makes for a very low energy field of fear and anger. And that energy field, all of the Elohim feel that energy field. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, they all feel that fear. And they think, oh heavens, Gaia has fear. I guess we need to have fear too. We need to help. How do we get rid of this fear? But they didn't create the fear, so it's pretty difficult for them to change the fear. The ones that create the fear are the ones that need to be responsible for transmuting that fear into unconditional love and multidimensional light. Shawnna?
So how, just as a simple question, how is it helpful if we even state that intention and ask Gaia how we can help? How we can help her?
Any time that anyone honors the planet enough to think that she can hear you and will converse with you. And first off, that you honor yourself enough that you believe that you have that innate power to communicate with the entire planet. Even if there isn't a communication, the mere fact that that human has acknowledged that they have that ability, and the mere fact that Gaia realizes that there are humans that are on her side. Because if you were to put yourself into the role of planet Earth, and you look around at the things that humans are doing, would you feel like the humans were on your side? Would you feel like that, Shawnna?
No, it's the opposite.
No, that's right. Suzille doesn't feel like that. And just imagine if everybody could feel like this is my planet that I love, and this is my family. And in the same manner that you would love and care for a beloved family member, you would love and care for your beloved planet. It's just a natural thing. If someone that you love calls you and says, oh, this horrible thing happened, I really need your help, you're going to help them. But, you know, how many people hear Gaia say, oh, this horrible thing happened and I really need your help? And then how many people, amongst the ones, if they heard it, would actually find a way to help? Now, there are absolutely some wonderful humans that have dedicated themselves, and they have been doing amazing work. And in the scheme of the billions of people that live on that planet, they're a very small percentage. But even that small percentage is very important. And the reason why you haven't gone into World War III, the people are saying, no, we don't want that. We do not want that massive destruction. And then, of course, there are some that do want that massive destruction, but they are a minority, and they come from selfishness and greed. Now, when someone comes from selfishness and greed, they have a very low frequency. Their consciousness is very low and not very powerful. And that's why they have to be outwardly violent, and they have to use guns or tools or lies or some kind of a tool, because they don't have their own power, because they have separated themselves from the planet. So they have the power of one small human. And unfortunately, one small human can do a lot of damage, and there has been enough dictators on planet Earth that everyone knows that one small person can create a lot of damage. However, it is only because the masses of people had not yet really found their own power. And they don't have to get out a gun or have a fight or even necessarily do something particularly physical. What they have to do is to raise the frequency of the energy field. Because what will happen is Gaia goes through her ascension process. There will be the components of herself who, with the help of earth, air, fire, water, and all the kingdoms, including humanity, that component of Gaia will ascend. Now, there is another component of Gaia which has been known as the frequency fence. And the frequency fence is a component of Gaia where the darkness has chosen to live. And they have chosen to live because they feel that they are above the planet. They feel that they are above the people. So they have their mansions or their places or their getaways so that they don't interact with the people, with the planet. They just have their own selfish desires. So what happens is that they have chosen to create and to live on this, like a structure of a matrix. And as you all know, the dark ones that came in long ago, they created the matrix. They live on the matrix. But what will happen, and the first possible reality will be somewhere around 2002, 2020, well, not 2002, but 2020 and beyond. We say 2002 because that was a possible time. It did not work. There will probably be quite a few dress rehearsals, so to speak. And we ask each of you to take a moment and think, where were you at 2002? Shawnna, do you know where you were at 2002?
I'll have to do some remembering there, but yes.
Okay, so 2002, that was how many years ago? As we work it out, then the people that listen can work it out. 6, 7, 8, that was 16 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Without saying how old I am, I'm going to subtract 16 from it. I was 54. Okay, what was I doing at 54? And at 54, I was born in 1946. Oh, 5 and 10. Oh, that's 2000. Yes. Remember 2000? People really, that there was a banding together. Do you remember that, Shawnna? You were probably younger.
Yeah, they had the whole,
Yeah.
Y2K stuff going on.
Yeah, right. So there was an awakening there. There was definitely like an awakening, an energy field of awakening. And it was an awakening of the baby boomers, because the baby boomers, 1946, 7, that means we were the ones that were born right after World War II. And so we were the ones that were there through Vietnam, and we had that feeling of, no, we do not want this war. And so we really felt like we were a part of stopping that war. We felt like we had some power, because we said, no, this is not a good war. There's no reason for this war. Why are you killing those poor people over there? This is ridiculous. And it was stopped. So that is why, okay, this is Sue speaking. It was Sue speaking. That is probably why the Arcturians brought that in. And the thing is, with each of you, as you get some of these things that come in, and you feel like, oh, I need to put it into my human self so I can see where I was within that time frame. Where were you in the year 2000, Shawnna? You're younger, so you were in high school or something, or?
Well, no, I mean, it was a long time ago, but I think, about that time I was wrapping up grad school, so I was still, getting master's degrees and stuff like that. So, but personally, it was a very difficult time. I was going through many personal challenges towards the end of that education. So, and then moving to a brand new place, and it was pretty transformational.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for me, by then, I think that's about the time that I ended a marriage that really needed to be ended. But I was going through school too, and I wasn't going to leave the marriage until I had enough money I could support myself and my kids. Because I had worked at these childcare centers with these bedraggled women pull themselves in at the end of the day. And I'm going, no, that is not going to be me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give myself a good job. So that all of this brings up, that we need to prepare ourselves. We need to make ourselves strong. If we are going to be working for a better planetary reality, we need to feel strong inside of ourselves, don't we, Shawnna?
Absolutely. That's a very important theme that has arisen.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there is that inner strength. And that inner strength is greatly enhanced by connecting your inner strength with your higher strength, your higher dimensional experiential world, whether it be your dreams or your journaling or your classes or your interaction with unseen beings. Um, it is that expanding of one's consciousness that gives gives all persons a sense of belonging. Now, why does an expanded consciousness give you a sense of belonging? That was Suzanne asking that. Now we, the Arcturians, will answer that. Because when you have a higher sense of consciousness, you realize that everything is alive. And you realize that you are alive, that your thoughts are alive, that your emotions are alive, and every part of your body is alive. And as you look around your reality and into yourself, you see that there is life. And then once you see that there is life, there is power in acknowledging that there is life. Do you understand what we're saying when we say there is power in acknowledging that there is life?
Yes, yes, it's understanding you have this comprehension of a greater existence and awareness that we're all connected, and that we even have a responsibility, to contribute to the larger puzzle.
Yes, we are not alone. If you didn't have a single friend in the world and lived in the middle of the wilderness and never saw another human, you would not be alone. You would be with all of the plants, all of the animals, all of the undines and the salamanders and the fourth dimensional beings, and you would be able to talk with the trees, talk with plants. The planet is alive. And when people are aware of that, then they don't want to just throw their trash on the ground. They don't want to just have that plant that's going to pollute everything and go up into the air and go down into the water. They don't want any of those things to happen, because the planet isn't just a big rock. It's a living being that's alive. And we left our higher dimensional homeworlds and starships to come and experience the final swan song of a third dimensional reality. And the third dimensional reality is a reality that is ruled by time and space. And because it's ruled by time and space, there is distance, there is separation. And it takes a long time to get to that other space. So you have to study a long time to get that degree. But what is happening is that now Gaia is moving into her fifth dimensional here and now. And there will be the illusion of the remnant of her third dimensional self for a while. So people have a little more quote unquote time to move into that process of ascension. And what that means is that fifth dimensional Gaia will be surrounding that third dimensional Gaia, because it is a higher frequency. So it would be like a higher layer but not a layer that's dense, a layer that is of light. It's a light layer. And it's difficult to perceive from your third dimensional self, because in your third dimensional self, everything is separate. And everything, there's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And they're all separate, and you can knock on it, or you can scratch on it, or you can interact with it physical to physical. But in the fifth dimension, it's all about the here and the now. And within that here and now, there is no looking, there is no seeking, there is no gaining, there is no learning. It is all here now. Shawnna, do you want to talk to that about that here now a bit?
Well, from the perspective of finding that like a still point within you, the here and the now is very empowering, because you're not focused on the past or attached to any of those energies. You're not worried about the future. You're just focused on your current presence and how you can master your thoughts and emotions, and that's the greatest contribution you can make.
Yes, because your thoughts and emotions are energy fields, and those energy fields interact with every step you take. You leave a bit of your energy field. Every breath you make, you leave a bit of your energy field. Everything you do leaves a bit of your energy field. And that's your gift, or the opposite. And most people, they don't really want to be sending out darkness and fear, but they don't know how to heal it. But there are many people that have gone to school to learn how to help people move beyond their fear, beyond their anger, beyond their hate, and beyond their feeling trapped. And we suggest to all of you who feel like what we're saying, oh, that's impossible, I can't do that. Well, that's you telling yourself the truth. Right now, you believe that you can't do that. So therefore, we say to you, find someone to talk to. A pastor, a mentor, a therapist, a best friend, a family mentor. Find somebody to talk with, and so that you can heal that within yourself. And once you've healed that within yourself, you're going to go, wow, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And you know what? I'm doing it right now. And that's a lot better way to live your life. What do you think, Shawnna? Which life would you want?
Well, that one's very empowering, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. But I tell you, there is work to be done. Everybody can recognize that it is a process.
It is a process. And it's not like anyone is better than anyone, because each of us chose where we wanted to start and what we wanted to do. So what that means is that some people chose to be teachers, some people chose to be healers, some people chose to be writers, some people chose to be artists, and some people didn't believe that they could choose. And so then they became the ones who needed assistance from all the people that had chosen to be assisters. And they could make that choice to assist others because they remained in conscious connection with this sense that they're important and that they have something to give. And we know that there are many people who have been brainwashed that they're not important and they feel like they have nothing to give. And to those people we say, please get some help. Move through that negative karma that you chose to purge within this lifetime. And that process of moving through that negative karma and coming back into your power will make you feel so strong that you will be almost happy that you had that hardship, because it, through the darkness is the light. And everyone in some way has to walk through that darkness to get to that light. Shawnna?
And of course, once you do that, you feel victorious, and you're an excellent role model for others to follow, and to, have that confidence and feel empowered to make that difference in their lives. So it's contagious in a good way.
If you want to help yourself, help someone else first. Because once you start helping somebody else, you forget about your problems. I can remember when I was a therapist, when I was a nursery school teacher, when I was an audiologist, I would like be in a bad mood about something. It's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then I would go into work, and here was this person that needed me to be professional, needed me to be kind, and needed me to be loving. And so somewhere in that midst of knowing that these people needed me to give that to them, I had to sometimes I would go into the bathroom and sit in the bathroom and, and clean it up and say, okay, these people, they deserve the best of me. And then I got to have the best of me too. Right, Shawnna? What we give away is what we get. And if we find the best of us and we give it to others, then, everything that goes out comes back.
Absolutely. And what you see around you is also a reflection of you. So just having a heightened awareness of yourself and others, you just naturally have that compassion that grows within you, and then that grows within others, because we begin to respect each other and the unique journeys that we all have.
And that compassion that each of you need to have for yourself is, this is great. Yes, you are in a situation that is difficult for you. Me, I'm in a situation that's difficult for me. I'm in a situation where I want a certain thing and I'm not able to get that certain thing. And I keep trying to get that certain thing and I just can't get that certain thing. And so we could say, oh, you're just silly and what's wrong with you and you're bad. Or we could say, oh, I'm sorry. That must really make you feel sad. It must hurt your feelings. So here, come on. Let me hug you. Let me tell you how truly wonderful you are. And let me remind you that don't worry so much about what you need and focus on what you have to give. And that's perfect because, Shawnna, you've got some bird right outside your window.
Do you hear? Oh, man, they are singing in the springtime, I tell you. Just beautiful.
Yeah, I love birds. Birds are such wonderful people.
I agree. And when we share gratitude, even for the little things, then that becomes amplified as well. So that's always a good practice.
Yeah. So I think we've pretty much come to as much as people can, bring in within this now. Is there any closing comments or anything you'd like to make, Shawnna? And then I'll ask the Arcturians if they have any.
Oh, right. No, just thank you as always. I think it's always so very helpful to align to that feeling of empowerment, that we are the creators of our reality and we have these excellent tools to guide us. So thank you.
Yes, and we, the Arcturians, want to remind all of you that you are very, very brave. That you chose to take this earth vessel in this important time of planetary transition. And we want you to know that we see you all in our ships at night. And we see you in the classes that we give. And we see you in the small groups where you're learning how to give small groups. And if you think, oh, I'm too far from a school, I don't have the money to go, I've got too many kids to take care of, I've got a job that I have to have. Okay, sometimes that happens. But you probably created that for yourself so that you would be forced to go in your night body. And so when you go to sleep at night, before you go to sleep, take some time, read something a little bit spiritual, and tune into yourself, tune into your body, tune into your day, and say, okay, I am ready to go up to the ship to get my daily debriefing of what I learned and what I gave to planet Earth on that day. And you may come back with the memory of living, sitting in like a huge room, like a basketball stadium where the seats are raised up. And you're somewhere on those seats, and you look down to the floor, and on the floor, you will see us, the Arcturians and the Pleiadians, the Antaurians, and whatever other beings are there with us. And you will also, at some point, find yourself working with other people and helping other people and participating in that other life that is simultaneously running in your own higher dimensional expression of yourself. Blessings so much. And if any of you ever wish to talk to us, all you have to do is say, "Dear Arcturians, we would like to talk with you." And don't forget to write it down. Blessings. Okay, Shawnna, anything you'd like to say in your goodbyes?
Yes, well, thank you all for taking the time and effort to align to this conversation today. We hope it's helpful to you, and we will see you in the debrief.
Yes, we will. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.